In today's episode of Getting Geeky with Game Relief, we sit down with Bob Whiteley to find out a little bit more about what's going on in the dice world. Then we'll see what's on Kickstarter. But first, a little intro music for your podcast listening enjoyment.
Getting Geeky with Gamer Leaf, the podcast in which one man strives to level up his geekhood and helping you do the same, one battle at a time. Now, let's get geeky with Gamer Leaf.
Welcome to Getting Geeky with Game Relief. Tonight we got a special treat for you. We're joined by the creator of a new Kickstarter, Custom Dice, Art and Fiction, the creator mastermind of that. Is that right, Bob? Is that how you fall in line with Custom Dice, Art and Fiction?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you, Blake.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us on Getting Geeky with Game Relief. We really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure to be on there.
No problem. Now, before we jump into this Kickstarter campaign and everything you have going on, let's rewind a little bit if we could. How did you get into playing tabletop board games, Bob?
Pretty much everything that I'm excited about now was introduced to me by a cousin of mine. He introduced me to comic books. He introduced me to Dungeons and Dragons. And then he introduced me to a strange little board game called Awful Green Things from Outer Space.
That sounds intriguing. What's that? What goes on in that game?
That's an amazing little game. It actually came in a Dragon magazine, and you cut out all the little pieces, and it takes place on a spaceship. And one side plays the crew of this nutty little cartoony game, this cartoony spaceship. And the other player plays the awful green things. And every turn, you either have like the awful green things grow into adults, or they lay eggs, or the eggs hatch into little babies. And it's not very balanced, but it's a bunch of crazy fun. It's a lot of fun.
It sounds like it.
It really got me thinking if something like this was even possible. I mean, I was used to playing Monopoly and games like that, and this just blew the doors off of my imagination and allowed me to realize I could be thinking outside the box that far. And so I got me excited. I started making games after that.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And what are you playing these days?
Well, right now I'm in this very little sleep, nonstop powering through, trying to get some projects done. So right now I'm working on 2 different board games, and not leaving a whole lot of time for actually playing at the moment. I did play recently The Walking Dead by Cryptozoic. I played that a few times, and I bought Dead of Winter, but I've had a little bit of difficulty. I don't really know very many people that actually play board games, and my role-playing group is kind of off and married and having children, so I'm kind of in between things, so I'm just working to death on getting some good stuff out there myself.
Oh boy, yeah, that can be rough not having a game group. We also have Dead of Winter. I believe that's on our shelf of opportunity, I like to call it, because we haven't been able to get it to the table, unfortunately, yet.
There you go. Well, hopefully both of us will before long.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that'd be cool. But speaking of something that maybe it's not necessarily on the shelf of opportunity, but right now we're trying to get it to other people's shelves of opportunity, is Custom Dice, Art and Fiction. What can you tell us about what you're doing on Kickstarter currently, Bob?
Well, I've for the last 40 years or so, I've been developing 2 universes, the Cosmoverse and Tenaria, very different universes that are in my games. So like the Cosmoverse is featured in my role-playing games that I've been working on over the years, and Tenaria is the backdrop of all my board games. So I decided after 40 years of doing this that I need to start get some more attention in wider circles. And I thought I would put this together and celebrate, even if it's not a big deal to anyone else because they maybe haven't heard of it. It's a big deal to me. It's been a big part of my life. And so I designed some dice for each of the universes and some extra goodies. and some art that display both Cosmoverse imagery as well as the Tunaria cartoonier creatures, and as well as my books. I've got some 3 books out.
Okay, so awesome. So like you talked about, there's two universes or whatnot from your book, Cosmoverse as well as the Tunaria. Like you said, maybe a lot of people don't know about those, even though I guess it's the 40th anniversary of them. What can you tell us about those so somebody can get a little bit of background on what's going on with those worlds?
Thank you, Lake. I actually have on my website, qtgames.com, I've got excerpts of 3 Cosmoverse books. Basically, I had been putting together a role-playing game and setting material to release for the Cosmoverse over the years, and it's just kind of a Herculean and very expensive task. And so I decided to reveal those universes in or the Cosmoverse in book form first, in fiction. So the Cosmoverse itself, it's basically a dying universe that has been plagued by a large number of wayward gods and corrupt magic. It also has a number of highly powered beings in it. You could call them superheroes or whatever. And they have caused a lot of problems. There's great galactic kingdoms that have struggled through wars and such. And so it's really a universe in decline. But there's one thing about the Cosmoverse that was very important to me to build into it early on, and that is the ability for just a totally average Joe to make huge sweeping changes in the universe. And so how I put that together is there's the wayward gods, but there's also godlike artificial intelligences called the architects. And they have been doing all kinds of things behind the scenes for a long time, Lake. And one of the things that they have done, or is in the aftermath of the things they have done, is they've left a lot of their technology sitting around on various worlds. And so there's gates all over the place. There's very dangerous caches of alien technology in places, and someone could dig something up on their farm, or they could wander into the wrong cave or whatever, and they could change things even on other planets because the architects were very meddlesome. And so that's kind of the backdrop. There's a lot more to the Cosmoverse, of course, but that's just kind of like a brief overview.
Well, that sounds pretty cool. The one I'm really intrigued by, especially because of the art, is Tunaria. What's that?
Well, that is very near and dear to my heart. That universe I started just for my board games. I didn't realize it was going to be a lot bigger deal than that. I've got a cartoon just a short cartoon thing in the works, as well as a whole bunch of board games that I've done over the years. But it is about basically Tunaria and the Cosmoverse are linked by dimensional rifts, and so some things that happen in Tunaria slip into the Cosmoverse and vice versa. And one of the big things in Tunaria is a magical storm called the God Storm, and it is a horrific rolling thunderous power that sweeps across the land and changes everything it touches. It goes across the dimensions and has even leaked into the Cosmoverse and caused a lot of damage there. But it has done, between the God Storm and a major invasion of an alien species in the Cosmoverse into Tunaria, it has left Tunaria just a broken universe. It is dying like the Cosmoverse, but in different ways. But in Tunaria, you've got everybody. The average Joe is just a cute, just an adorable little monster. That is what it's populated with. There are some humans that have come from the Cosmoverse over, but there's very few humans left, and it's mostly these cute little races. But they go through all kinds of different difficulties. The thing is, like, is there's a condition in Tunaria called pink syndrome. And what pink syndrome does is it makes it impossible for you to clearly understand and perceive your surroundings. There's a lot of hallucinations that goes on. Basically the bottom line is most folks in Tunaria have no idea what's really going on around them, or what has gone, I should say, on in the past. There was a great event called the Darkover, in which the sun fell out of the sky, everything went black, no one could perceive anything, and they basically woke up many, many years later, and all of a sudden the world was back to normal again. In fact, it was even better than before, or at least that's how they perceived it. Pink syndrome was released at that time by the architects of Tunaria, and it makes them basically not be able to see the horrors around them. So they're actually living in just a terrible environment. They've lost tons of people, but they don't really understand what's happening. And so they go about their happy little lives, doing tea parties, eating pie, having a good old time, and not really taking things as seriously as they should. So it has a lot of interesting adventure and story potential there, and it's rolled over into my games.
Oh, well, I'm quite intrigued. So with the Kickstarter, what exactly can people get by pledging on this Kickstarter?
Well, the way I set the Kickstarter up is so that basically instead of having a bunch of little like add-ons that you could take, what I did was I made it so that you could take each reward as many times as you like, with the exception of some art rewards I have. But essentially, the campaign focuses on 2 dice, one for the Cosmoverse called the Stargate D20. Stargates have a lot of history long before the franchise popped up, but a lot of history in the Cosmoverse. And then I've got the Skyark dice, named after, for the Tunaria, and it's named after the giant floating structures in Tunaria, because everybody lives on floating islands, all controlled by what's called a Stargate, or a Skyark. And those are in turn controlled by a giant structure called a Triskel. And so the Triskel shape is on each of the D20s. So I've got some really pretty D20s. I've also got an overkill D20 for a stretch goal that makes sure you roll a lot of criticals. It's a lot of fun. And I've got another die called the Gambler is a stretch goal that's has a lot of interesting dice gaming uses, as well as uses you could add to your role-playing games. And I've got some really pretty art prints. These are actually museum quality Geekly art prints. Very expensive to make, very rare. I only printed a few, and I'm not going to ever be printing more. So those are rare items. I made some Tunaria stickers, and I have just some really gorgeous maps that are available, just PDF maps, but they're print ready. I've got one behind me on the wall. It's a Geekly print, just a gorgeous thing. It's got paintings of each of the major races. I have little 5-inch by 8-inch pieces of artwork that have paintings on both sides, painting and as well as lore and such. So they're little mini paintings. I call them campaign cards. I'm kind of making little collectible sets of those. I've got just a gorgeous bookmark with a painting on both sides. A lot of good stuff going on. Yeah,
it looks like it. Just scrolling back and forth through the Kickstarter pages we've been talking and whatnot. Especially the art jumps out at me. It all sounds pretty intriguing, as well as the story behind the games and whatnot.
Well, I had at one point, and I'm a professional artist myself, but I also bring on board artists for certain projects, and when I was working on a role-playing game for the Cosmoverse, at one point I had 11 artists, authors, and game designers on board for it. But you know, with the turnaround, with the financial collapse we had here in America, that all kind of went away, and I've kind of had to go pretty lean. So I just occasionally use freelancers now, and professional editors and such. But I'm mostly currently doing a lot of the work myself.
Okay, yeah, I hear you. It looks, but like I said, it looks amazing. I really like the stretch goals. I want to get to them, like the overkill dice. It just looks amazing. There's like several different ones, as well as the Gambler. They look really cool as well.
Yeah, I'm just loving the dice. I think I just don't really I just don't really know a whole lot of people, and so it has been slower than it should be by now. I recognize that, but we're certainly it's not for lacking reward wise. I've really made the funding goal as low as possible. I paid for a lot of things up front, as much as I could, and there's really a whole lot more here for such a small Kickstarter. So there's a lot to love in this Kickstarter. It's just kind of a matter of people finding out about it.
Yeah, that's for sure. And word on the street is you're doing a giveaway with us over at thegiveawaygeek.com. What does somebody have the chance of winning, Bob?
Well, we've got... I just released the Shadow Reaper novel. It's really my favorite story of all the ones I've written, and I've written quite a few over the years. But it's a novel, and I'll sign it. And it also comes with a bookmark that's got a painting on both sides, a couple of the items that are in the Kickstarter as well. It has a Tunarian campaign card. These are glossy works of art. It's got paintings of 5 of the critters from Tunaria on the front and on the back. You can find out little bits about each one of them on the back, as well as little pictures on them. And I've also got that Cosmoverse map I was talking about. Just a really spent a long time making that map. It's really detailed and gorgeous. It's not just like looking at a black star map of the sky. This is the Cosmoverse. It's filled with magic and wonder, and this map, I think, portrays that. It's got the cosmology on it. It's got paintings of all the little of all the little the different races, and as well as it also has galactic icons of the different shattered galactic kingdoms that are struggling to survive. So a lot of good stuff.
Sure. I'm intrigued, that's for sure. I probably can't enter the giveaway, can I?
Well, I might be able to slip something your way. I sure appreciate that you've opened up the opportunity for me to be able to spread the word, because that's what I need more than anything right now.
Oh boy, no worries. Yeah, I was just saying, if I could, I would enter the giveaway. It just looks awesome. All this stuff. I like the map and just all the different dice and the stories. They sound amazing. And we'll go ahead and make sure, so if somebody's listening, they can go ahead right at the bottom of the show notes. There'll be a way to enter. They can just enter right there as they're listening, or they can check it out at thegiveawaygeek.com. It's on there as well. Now, we don't want to keep you all day, Bob, all night, Bob, but minus coming there to your hometown to stalk you, how can people go about keeping up with you and everything you're doing over there at QT Games?
Well, that's a great question. So probably the best way, because we are constantly working on stuff, on a lot of good stuff, they can go to qtgames.com. And there's a newsletter link there. And if they sign up for the newsletter, not only will they keep up on what I'm doing, I sneak in art bits and other things that other people don't see nice and early, and talk about the different things coming up. But I also, just by signing up for the newsletter, I have a novella available, a wonderful story available on just one of the many worlds, events happening in one of the many worlds in the Cosmoverse. But it's a really exciting story, and that's just free by signing up. I also have the Facebook QT Games fan page. So if they typed in QT Games on Facebook, they'd find it. And I do a lot of updates frequently there as well.
Oh, okay, awesome. And if you give me those links, I'll make sure I put them in the show notes. And mine, so I know right now we're focused on getting this Kickstarter, the custom dice, art and fiction funded and everything. But say somebody's listening later on down the road after it's been fulfilled and everything. Is there any secrets of what's in your back pocket on what you're working on that you can maybe share with us?
Well, I can tell you that I was, after designing the Gambler D20, I was surprised to find just how easy it was to make dice games for it. Because of the different odds of the different icons on it, I was able to do a lot of interesting things with it. And so I decided to put together, even though I'm working on a big game called Freezer Burn, that's all about conquering a volcano on one of the floating islands in the Tunaria. That's a big, cool game I'm working on. I'm well on my way with that. Obviously, there'll be a lot of play testing coming up. But I just recently started Storm Garden. And that is an exciting board game so far from the rough prototype I have so far, and it's uses several of the gambler dice, so it's going to be a lot of fun as well. So those are coming up. As far as on my Cosmoverse side, because both of those are for Ternaria, I'm going to be writing the sequel to Voices, one of the novellas in my Arcane Synthesis novel, my anthology. And I've also got a lot of neat ideas for a sequel to The Shadow Reaper.
Oh, well, yeah, I'm really intrigued. Especially, we got to try to get to those stretch goals so we can get that gambler dice, because I'm intrigued by that game.
Yeah, what I'm going to do with Storm Garden is I'm going to release a free version of it first. I mean, you'd have to buy the gamblers or I might make like some kind of D20 conversion thing or whatever for how you can use something other than the gambler if you really want to. But of course, it'd be a lot more fun with the gambler, not have to convert anything. But I will be making a free version of that game available, print and play, and then the full version, or I should say a nice, pretty, printed version.
Well, there you go. Yeah, most definitely. But like I said, we don't want to keep you all night, but we really appreciate you coming on Getting Geeky with Gamer Leaf with us tonight, Bob, to talk all about custom dice, art, and fiction that'll be on Kickstarter through the 26th of November. We really appreciate it, Bob.
Well, thank you so much, Lake. I appreciate being able to come on here.
No problem at all.
Now, let's get geeky.
Wow, that was great sitting down with Bob. Before, I thought all dice were created equally. I guess not. If you liked what you heard and you like the dice and you want to check them out or enter our giveaway, make sure you head on over, check out the Kickstarter, and enter our giveaway over at thegiveawaygeek.com. Those prizes sound awesome. I would like to win myself. Now, let's go with Batterina Leaf, shall we? Where are we going, Batterina?
Kickstarter Corner!
You should back the critically acclaimed and quick-to-learn two-player battle phenomenon known as Vector Wars. Influenced by many classic movies and games, Vector Wars is finally making this sci-fi fantasy a reality. If you like two-player action, deep-level tactics and strategy, huge gameplay moments, smooth and balanced mechanics, huge Kickstarter exclusives, then Vector Wars will give you a gaming experience like no other. Back Vector Wars now. Do you like a lot of different gaming mechanics? Well, there's another reason Vector Wars is for you. It's got hand management, a dice-based combat system, credit management, as well as victory points. Who doesn't love to get more victory points than their friends? I know I do. I thought so. Why stop there, though? They didn't. There's a shared marketplace as well as area control. Plus, you can play one of my favorite games as a kid, Capture the Flag, but on the tabletop. So, if any of those sound sweet, go check out their Kickstarter and back it before Tuesday the 19th of November. Plus, make sure you're subscribed to the show or go back and search for Vector Wars on our website, GamerLeafGo.com, so you don't miss that episode. Plus, to sweeten the pot like we love to do for you, we've teamed up with them to bring one lucky winner a prize. Be on the lookout for our giveaway over at thegiveawaygeek.com, which will go live a few days after they've launched on the 20th of October. After backing Vector Wars, as I know you will, be a peach and tell them in the comments on their Kickstarter that Gamer Leaf sent ya. Horror weighs on the little village of Gloombury. Werewolves have infiltrated the village community when the moon increases. The fear of the villagers increases also, because at full moon the battle for the place of Leader Wolf is fought. Be aware, because nobody is safe. No more. Sound familiar to you? Didn't to me either. But before we tell you what game this story is tied to, let's talk about your dreams, shall we? You've always wanted to become a werewolf ever since you saw Teen Wolf 1 starring Michael J. Fox and the cartoon, right? I hear ya. I have that dream as well. Too bad that's not practical, because he really killed it on the basketball court as well as in life once he was able to do just that. Well, seeing how you're here listening to Getting Geeky with Gamer Leaf still, I know you love your tabletop board games. What if I told you someone made a game to help make this dream of ours a reality? Well, it's out there, and better yet, is that you can help it become a reality. Good guess. It is on Kickstarter. How'd you know? It's called Be Aware, That's spelled with an E instead of an A. But in case you don't remember, just click the link in our show notes and it'll get you there. This is a card game for people who always wanted to be a werewolf and transform a village into their pack. Bible Board Games had this to say about Beware. Beware is a lot of fun for us. We find the implementation of the werewolf theme very successful, playing out the various actions of the villagers, and thus thwarting the plan of one of the other players is a lot of fun and sometimes generates a narrow victory or defeat. Beware, just so you know, is a short and entertaining card game for 2 to 5 players. The game is played in several rounds. A round ends when the cards on the table or playing field form a full moon. Then the players transform into werewolves and try to increase their pack by biting as many villagers as possible. But be careful, you don't want to bite your victims to death. Also be aware of silver bullets. Whoever has the most combinations of bite and villager cards gets the most points. It'll be on Kickstarter through Saturday the 30th of November. But while we're chatting about dreams, you've always wanted to be immortalized in a game, right? Well, what if I told you we've teamed up with them to give one lucky listener just that? How might you might ask? Well, you've heard of our site called thegiveawaygeek.com, haven't you? Well, they're bringing you an awesome prize. That's right, one winner will win one copy of the basic Beware game along with the extension pack, a backer's extension pack to be exact. And also, one villager card will be customized. The winner can have their photo redrawn by the artist. So one of the villagers will look like one of our fans. Hot dog! Want to win? Well, what are you waiting for? Go to thegiveawaygeek.com and enter right now. While there, it'll direct you to their Kickstarter page, which will get you an entry into the giveaway just for looking at it. That, or you can just use the link in our show notes. Regardless of whether or not you enter the giveaway, make sure to back Beware before November 30th. Tell them Game Relief sent you in the comments on the Kickstarter page.
Have you ever wanted to run your own company, manage people, deliver projects? Here's your chance to take this dream to the next level with the new Mr. Java board game. Up to 4 players can play Mr. Java, including a solo mode, and the game uses play mechanics such as dice rolling and worker placement. You take on the role of a company boss who has to manage a team of 3 people, each with their area of expertise, namely the designer, the programmer, and the tester. Each team has a special ability throughout the game. Throughout the game, you will have a list of actions to choose from that will make your company prosperous and reputable. These actions include obtaining projects according to your team's areas of expertise and your budget, delivering them in the required time frame, and ensuring your client satisfaction.
Wow!
When you deliver a project, you will receive rewards in the form of expertise, money, as well as your reputation and stars. This increase in your reputation will lead you to being elevated to preferred partner status, and you will obtain advantages that no other player has. Are you starting to feel the call of entrepreneurship? Yeah! For those wanting greater challenges, we have included a more complex mode with 2 additional team members to be managed, namely the project manager and the project controller. In addition, you will have the opportunity of improving your company's productivity and of hiring consultants to help you deliver your projects. So, are you ready to take up the challenge? Mr. Java awaits you.
Thanks, Mr. Big Voice. I'll take it from here. Why should you back Mr. Java? Well, the company bringing you Mr. Java has a primary objective to offer an immersive game experience. The aspects that will help them provide this experience to you are these: realism. They can offer you a game that is surprisingly close reflection of the real world thanks to their experience and their intensive research in this field. Plus, there's playability. Their game is comprised of 2 play modes as well as a single player mode, plus 2 additional boards to give you a high degree of playability. Last but not least, environmental responsibility. Respect for the environment is a priority for their company throughout their board game design process. They avoid plastic when possible and make every effort to use sustainable materials such as wood, recycled cardboard, or bamboo. They use materials of the highest quality to make playing the game as pleasant as possible. Why did Gamer Leaf back it? That's a great question. I love the art. I know you will too, so head on over and check out their Kickstarter and back it before the 5th of December. Once again, we've decided to sweeten the pot for you. We're running a giveaway with them over at thegiveawaygeek.com. Either way, make sure to back Mr. Java before December 5th. Tell them Gamer Leaf sent you in the comments of their Kickstarter page. If you liked any of the games we talked about in today's episode, make sure you check out their Kickstarter campaigns to show them and us a little love. Backing them goes a long way. Plus, make sure to stay up to date on all the giveaways we're doing over at thegiveawaygeek.com. There will be at least 2 to 3 new giveaways going live over there next week. It's our least favorite time as well as yours. So until next episode, make sure you go ahead and get geeky, stay geeky, and bring others in the geek fold by sharing our episodes with others, as well as keeping up with the giveaways we're doing over at thegiveawaygeek.com. Gamer Leaf out.
Gamer Leaf levels up. Tune in next week to see if Gamer Leaf's luck holds up.